This is your second stimulus update related to the second stimulus check, PPP, unemployment extension, skinny bill, HEROES Act. Let's get in it tonight, Tuesday, September 10th. JJ the CPA here. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Headlines you've already heard, I'm sure, is that the skinny bill that was in the Senate today did not make it through. It needed 60 votes. It only received 52. Republicans, though, are united. At least that is the spin out of all of that with the Republicans. It was roughly a $650 billion package. We know that the skinny bill was absent the stimulus checks. If you tuned into my update yesterday, I indicated that I believe the reason, potentially as a maneuver, they were not included in the skinny bill is that they're using it now to negotiate to ensure that PPP is included in the final stimulus because the PPP is not in the HEROES Act. Now, the Democrats are surely claiming victory that they were able to block this and that the skinny bill did not get approved. What we all know is that the Senate is back from recess. Remember, the House is not back until next week. So the House of Representatives will end their recess on the 15th. They'll be back. Negotiations will then, I think, start to happen for real. I am somewhat optimistic that when I tell you that you're going to get your stimulus check the second round, I believe that will be the case. The IRS came out with a number of things that I talked about yesterday to ensure that everybody's getting their first round, and there are 9 million people who have not even gotten their first round. But I also was talking with a few people today that indicated they felt that their EIP was held up because their 2019 tax return has not been processed fully. So a couple of things. If you haven't filed your return yet for 19, get it in. That might be able to help leverage it your way, the EIP. The other is if you have filed 19, you're not sure what's going on, I'll put a link in the body. You can go to Where's My Refund? That's different from Get My Payment. Get My Payment is to get info related to your economic impact payment. The Where's My Refund is Where's My Refund related to 2019. Now, as it relates to PPP, nothing new. It's what I had already visited with you about. The good news out of that, though, is that it's a lower threshold to get over in being able to qualify. Number of questions that I've received is, will it still be forgivable? Yes. PPP 2.0. If you haven't achieved forgiveness of PPP 1.0, would you be able to get PPP 2.0? I'm going to say yes. We'll need to see the final law, but the point of PPP 2.0 is to get money into the small business hands. Indicated that it had to be a loan less than $2 million, something I didn't mention yesterday. Now, related to PPP, we are seeing continued news for those that have committed fraud. Without going into any of the details, when you read these items, these are outright fraud, as in creating companies or creating employees or having family groups getting together and creating ways to be able to get PPP. So 57 people today were charged, 175 million in fraud that the feds have uncovered or at least released that info today. Banks seem to be holding off on receiving applications. I think what you need to do, though, is if you have it ready to go, submit it to the bank, email it to the bank, send it to the bank, mail it to the bank. Remember this, when you submit it, it's when your requirements end. You know that you can submit it even before your covered period has come to a close. If you select the 24-week period, which you should, and your 24-week period ends in November, you can hand it in now. If you did put in for PPP 1.0 and you still haven't received it, and or you got denied, the SBA has come out now with procedures on how to remedy that. There are actual procedures on how to appeal that. So take a look into that. If you are in those circumstances, have your professional help you with that. It's not very straightforward, but nonetheless, there is now a procedure for that. If you're waiting on an SBA reconsideration of your EIDL, so you applied, you either were approved for a dollar amount, you didn't take it all, and now you would like to get the rest, and or you applied, you didn't qualify for as much as you thought because of something you put on your application, and now you would like to see with additional or correct information, can you get more EIDL? SBA has been phenomenal. If you've already in this process, you've received it, didn't take it all, you got denied, and or you received some, you feel that you should receive more, call the SBA, log back into your portal, you'll have your application number, call them. They'll answer typically fairly quickly, especially if you're calling during non-peak hours. Probably can consider or think when those would be, right? Not lunchtime. Now, when you're talking with the SBA, my biggest recommendation is see if that particular agent will give you their email for any follow-up. Don't complain, don't whine, it's not that person's fault. But what you want to do is not just check on the status. What you want to do is ask, what else is it that you can do? Is there additional information that they need? Check your junk email. The emails that are coming back to say, here's additional information we need, here's how you rectify it, and or nope, you don't qualify for any more. Log back into your portal, see if you have any information available to you there. Now, a couple of things on the IRS front. They released two different things today. The IRS did, irs.gov. I'll put a link down below. A couple of things that was a reminder from the IRS, which is when you file an extension, if you did, for your business, that is due September 15th. But if you filed an extension for your individual return July 15th, those tax returns are due, of course, October 15th. The tax is due October 15th. There are several ways the IRS can penalize you. The biggest whop, the biggest pop, slap, is if you don't file your individual tax return by October 15th and you owe any tax, you are going to have penalties on that tax that you owe for not filing. So there's a non-file penalty. There's a late payment penalty. There's an underpayment penalty. There's an accuracy penalty. There's a gross negligence penalty. But the common one is people get to October 15th, they don't have the money to pay, so they don't send it in. Send in your return, pay what you can, but at least you won't have a late file penalty, because the late file penalty, check it out, 5% on whatever you owe per month, with a maximum of 25%. You owe 10 grand, you don't pay, and you don't file, you're looking at a late file penalty, $2,500, and you're getting a late payment penalty up to 5%. Now, I'll put a link as well. The IRS has a wonderful way, beautiful way to set up an installment plan right on their website. It's easy. I'll put a link there. If you owe less than $25,000, you can set up an installment plan just like that. A couple of tips to know that you may not see otherwise is that when you're setting up an installment plan, take what you owe, divide it by 60, round it up a few. That will be the amount that they will accept. Don't take that long to pay it, but I tell clients it's better to commit to a lower dollar amount when you're paying the IRS on a monthly amount, so that you ensure that you're not going to miss that payment. So there'll be a fee to set it up. The website will walk you through all of that. And the IRS announced today that they will accept digital signatures, and they expanded what forms they will accept that. I'll put a link to that as well. So with the SBA forgiveness, what I'll say in closing is that you can apply at any time. And what I'm talking with people over and over and over on my phone consultations is that when you're listing your covered period, it's only going to be either 8 weeks or 24 weeks. I recommend the 24. It's never going to change when you talk about your covered period. Your covered period is not driven by when you're handing in the application. The covered period being 24 weeks, if you're applying for forgiveness, if you're 10 weeks in, 14 weeks in, or 24 weeks in, you're simply just saying, here's the payroll that I paid during this covered period. You're not trying to say, well, of the $60,000 I got in PPP, here's how I spent that in payroll. You're just saying, for this period of time, from the beginning of the covered period to the end of the covered period, or whenever you're handing in the application, here's my payroll for that period of time. I've got a lot of videos and playlists related to that. All right, hey, thanks for tuning in. I forgot to ask you if you would subscribe. If you're not already a subscriber, I would really appreciate that. And I really hope that you got something out of this to be better prepared for tomorrow. All right, hey, don't you ever forget, you've never met a CPA quite like me. Have a great one.
American CPA.